Yo, check this out. So today we're going to be talking about exotic cars, hypercars, and supercars, and what's the difference between all of them. So I'm going to bring on my homie. He's going to tell me what he thinks, and you know what I mean? We're going to have a little conversation about it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Check us out. All right, so we're here with D.Rose, and we're going to discuss hypercars, supercars, and exotic cars, and what's the difference. And he's going to let us know what he thinks. So D.Rose, the floor is yours. You let us know what's up, man. What you think about hypercars, supercars, and exotics, and what's the difference?
Hypercars, over $1 million, can definitely do over 200 miles per hour. Some of them shits even have like one seat, carbon fiber chassis, lightweight. So then you got supercars. Shit, they sell supercars out the dealer. You got GTR, C8, I believe even a Porsche. If I'm not mistaken, I think they got a couple of Porsches that are considered in that class. So, and then exotics are the normal, regular, everyday production value sports cars, as you would call them, the Italia, 911, stuff like that.
So, what separates hypercars from supercars? What is the difference that you would see that separates them?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's the cost. And of course, cost of production, but I believe it's cost and technology. If I'm not mistaken, hypercars have the ability to track the vehicle's stats, and they come with alternate like track modes and other things like that to monitor the vehicle's processes, because it being a hypercar, like the main focus is for track use. So a supercar obviously is lesser horsepower. I think they're mainly between like 8 and 1,000, whereas hypercars are like 1,000 and whatever. For instance, like the Hennessy Venom, I think that car made like 1,400 horsepower or something like that. It went 260 something miles per hour, 270 or something. I don't know. I can't really confirm it, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
So would you be able to give me 3 cars that you consider to be hypercars?
Hypercars? I would say the Koenigsegg Jesko. I think the Senna was put in the hypercar class. The McLaren Senna.
Okay.
And third one, hypercar.
Is a Bugatti considered a hypercar?
They have hypercars.
Okay.
So if you go from like the Veyron to the Chiron, I think the Chiron is like a hypercar or something. I think it's still that W16, whatever that motor is, 4 turbos.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane, but I think it's all in the profit. I mean, like, I think all of the Bugattis are hypercars because of the value. So I think most of those cars are over $1 million, so that would qualify them as a hypercar.
So you're saying the 3 characteristics is the functionality, the lightweight of it, the way it's built, and technology. Okay. All right. And what would be your third choice of the hypercar?
If I'm not mistaken, Porsche does have a hypercar. I think the 918 Spider is a hypercar. So forgive me for being wrong on that. I love Porsches. It's just I was only thinking about the nitty-gritty ones that we all used to. But yeah, if I could say the Spider, if I'm wrong with the Spider, then
don't bash them in the comments. You know what I mean? We just
listen, man,
this is just his opinion.
So forgive me.
Yeah.
I haven't played Forza in like 2 years, so a lot of y'all are still on Forza and just looking it up like, oh, he didn't say this one.
Yeah. So, supercars, what would you consider to be 3 supercars?
I said it earlier. The GTR, the C8. Shit.
You wouldn't consider a C8 to be an exotic car?
Not necessarily.
And why is that?
Functionality, design. It's a mid-engine. And the newer ones, I think the newer one, the illest one is twin turbo or something like that. Makes like 1,000 plus horsepower or something. So I know the horsepower ranges make it into supercar, even almost hypercar, but I think it's too heavy for a hypercar. And it's a production value car. So I don't think hypercars are normal production cars. They only make like 4 or 5 of them.
What category would an R8 fall into for you?
An exotic and a supercar.
Okay.
That would be.
It wouldn't be a hypercar though.
Nah.
And why is value. That? Because of the value.
Yeah, it's nowhere near.
It's
that. That's
not
a normal production car.
Understood.
I don't give enough credit.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. And how about like a LFA?
That is a little bit different only because of production. They didn't make a lot.
Right. So would it be considered a supercar or hypercar?
Horsepower range wise, I think that's what stunts it. Price range stunts it.
So what horsepower would you consider to be would grant it to the car to be a supercar or a hypercar?
The supercars are like over 600. Like I think it's over 600 to about 8 to 1,000, and I know hypercars are like 8 to way over 1,000. Because obviously you can have an 800 horsepower car, but it's still worth more than $1 million. Then it's still in that class. So,
where do you think the Viper falls into play in this?
I feel like a Viper is a normal production. I really can't say it's an exotic car. It's an American brand. So,
okay.
I mean, it's a domestic vehicle. I mean, I don't think any country claims any domestic vehicles of their own like that. In that sense, like to be able to call a car like that, like. Yeah, we came up with a Viper, so it got a little bit of horsepower, got a little bit of power. It sucks in steering and handling, but you know, that car really didn't. It's doing numbers now. That's one thing I can say. Vipers are sick nowadays because you got people 3,000 horsepower twin turbo setups.
So if a person takes an exotic car and puts $100,000 into it, does that make it into the class of a supercar?
Not really.
Because if you took a GTR and let's just say you threw 2,500 horsepower at it, at what stage does it not become an exotic car or a supercar?
Well, it was never an exotic car to begin with, and one, it's a supercar because of the class that it's in. It's an all-wheel drive twin turbo sports car, but the quarter mile times and I think the technology of the car allow it to be a supercar, because one, it keeps up with all the supercars. When it came out, it was keeping up with Ferraris, Lamborghinis, pretty much anything on the track. So I think it earned that right to be called a supercar. But if you throw $100,000 into a GTR, it doesn't make it a hypercar because it's not a production car. It wasn't made that way. Because you made that car that way doesn't change the characteristic of it still, you know.
So would you generally say that a hypercar consists of majority of carbon fiber, and that's what separates it from the supercar?
There's supercars that are carbon fiber, but I feel like a hypercar is more focused on track performance, so lightweight is key. So carbon fiber would be like, on a supercar you would have regular panels with maybe suede headliner. In a hypercar, the headliner is the roof, and it's carbon fiber, and it's caged in, like, you know, there's really no aesthetic other than the fact that you spent so much money on this car that you're looking at pure racing. You know, you don't spend $3 million on a Bugatti and think that when you get in it, you're gonna massage your ass, and I don't think you're worried about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not worried about heated seats and what does my system sound like? I don't think we're worried about that. So
a lot of these cars have no cup holders.
Cigarette lighters, ashtrays.
If you could afford any of them, which category would you take?
Supercar.
And why?
Take a GTR.
You would take a GTR out of all of the options around the whole entire globe?
Yeah, because one, I know with a GTR, I know people that work on them. I know people that build them. I know tuners that love them. I know GTRs that run 6-second damn near quarter mile times, and they run 260 mile per hour half miles in fucking 16 seconds, excuse my French, 17 seconds or something like that. I mean, yeah, I'll choose a GTR every time. I'm a Honda guy at heart. I love everything JDM. I love all cars really, but I'm a Honda guy. I was born a Honda guy, but when it comes down to that question, yeah, GTR.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about GTRs. They feel GTR is superior platform. GTR is king. You know, a lot of people feel that way.
Can't deny it, bro.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. They're definitely moving.
I mean, they have their troubles on launch, but other than that, and a lot of these guys out here have mastered that, so it really don't matter.
How much would you pay for a hypercar?
I don't got it, but how much would I pay for a hypercar? Depends on what it is that I'm buying. Depends on, like, I know I like Koenigsegg because I've seen them at like shows at Jacob Javits and stuff like that. The quality of those cars is ridiculous. So I feel like something like a Jesco would be. If I had the money, I'd pay up to 10 mil. If I had the bread, yeah, I'd drop. I think one car. I think, yeah, I would buy one car that would be worth 10 mil and that's it. Like, that wouldn't be my only car, but if I had the bread, I'd be like, all right, I want something crazy. Yeah, I'll drop 10.
So as a daily driver, which category would you prefer? Hyper, super, or exotic?
As a daily, I mean, I would still drive the GTR, so I'll take the super. I mean, practically, exotic cars really don't make them things right anyway. You always hear about a Ferrari on the highway catching on fire, or a Lambo catching on fire just sitting in traffic or something like that, so I'm good. I'll take me a GTR and have my AC on and chilling. You could do traffic with a GTR. See, they did that smart. They would have made one with 6-speed, that'd have been dope. If they would have made an R35 6-speed, that would have been crazy. But you can't ask for nothing better. That's one of the only automatic cars that when you buy it, you're like, yeah, I got what I need. This is it. They'll tell you GTRs are crazy, bro.
Yo, for sure. GTRs are definitely one of those platforms that reign supreme out here. Yo, I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you
for having me,
you know
man.
what I mean? I appreciate your input. You know what I mean? I think people are going to resonate with what you got going on and what you said.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that even know me that's going to troll. Bunch of niggas saying I'm smoking up boobies, all type of crazy shit. But yeah, we outside, man. You know what's up.
For sure, bro. Yeah, bro. Thank you for coming out. You know what I mean? And stay in your opinion. You know what I mean? Stay shocking through the streets.
You already?
You already.